Speaking of event films, let's talk about something new, Danny. Something we haven't really ever talked about. Let's get into some sci-fi. Two trailers kind of just hit.
Sorry.
Predator has just released a bunch of stuff, some trailers and some stuff going on. So specifically, I'd like to talk about the movie trailer, and the movies in general. Are you a fan of Predator?
It was all bullshit. All of it. The cabinet administered the whole work. You cooked up the story and put us in the goddamn meat grinder. What happened to you, Dylan? Used to be somebody I could trust. No, I'm kind of a fan.
Just kind of a fan? Okay. Let's get into Predator right now, because there are many versions of Predator. There's a lot of versions of Predator. There's been a few movies of Predator. There's been crossovers with Alien. Where are you in the world of Predator? What do you like about Predator? Which films do you like with Predator? And where would you like to see it go?
I think Predator, to answer your question of where do I think the franchise perhaps is its strongest. This is not me being a gatekeeper or anything like that, because there have been versions or other installments in the franchise that have gone back to the original. That is when it works the best. When he being the Predator, hunting on an Earth-based planet. The sci-fi sort of like on the spaceship story, that's better served for Alien and that sort of world. I think Predator works best when it's in like, like terrain, right? Like on like in the jungle. So Predator 1, the original Predator with Arnold, is one of my favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love that film. I love it for a lot of reasons. I feel like I find a new reason to like it every time I watch it. It has incredible rewatchability, especially if you watch it in like any sort of HD 4K transfer. It's so beautiful. And then any of the behind the scenes stuff, they're talking about like everything they had to go through just to make the movie, and then like all the egos that were on set. You got like Jesse the Body Ventura talking about how he's just Mr. Olympia, and all that stuff that was like happening. I'm glad that means that my trick worked. Carl Weathers being like peppered in there. Shane Black wrote it, but he was also, so much going into the start of it. But I do agree with what you said in that there have been lots of different versions. There's different ways to tell the story of Predator. Some folks are like, oh, Predator is this. Some folks were introduced to Predator the first time with Prey, the movie that came out not too long ago, which kind of like reinvigorated the franchise because since Predator, there was Predator 2, which decided that it was going to kind of like hone in on the fact that he needs to hunt in a hot, sweltering sort of tropical climate. So they picked the city of Los Angeles, which, let me just tell you something. Hot, probably. Sometimes, maybe. But sweaty, humid, sweltering, they should have just gone to New York. That's where it's humid. It's not really humid here, but I could be wrong. Maybe I just don't like feel it for the most part. But like jungle.
Was it future Los Angeles?
No.
It's not. It was modern day Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought it was supposed to be like, it literally reminds me of RoboCop, where it looks like this, like kind of a few years advance of what we think LA would be. It's like super violent. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why they're playing on the super heat, the super summer or whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like a futuristic tale, but
I don't think that they necessarily said that like this is now, but it wasn't like, this is 2032 or something like that. This is because they were definitely on the heels of the original Predator. Like some people, like that was super canon, and they were like, hey, this happened not too long ago in this jungle. And I believe that one was like of the time. Anyway, all that to say is that I was like, okay, maybe when Predator 2 came out, I was like, it's kind of working, but I don't believe Danny Glover is the ultimate prey for this Predator. Just saying. Maybe if he had Riggs with him, Murtaugh and Riggs, now we're talking. Now that's a formidable duo. And then so after that, they took a big hiatus, and then they returned with Predators, which I did think was an interesting take. They were going to another planet, and what they did was they took a bunch of the best killers or the best hunted options on Earth and put them on this other planet, which was like really cool. It kind of reminded me of like a blood sport sort of Kumite vibe. It's like you had the guy that was part of like um the Yakuza, and then like a Russian killer, and all these like different sorts of like these are the badasses on the planet. But then it just kind of devolved and it wasn't great. And I don't know, me personally, I'm not a huge Adrian Brody fan. I know there's some people that listen to this podcast that are huge Adrian Brody fans, but him as an action star, perhaps not. Him as a pianist, sure.
Sure.
So then after that, it tried to return to its roots ish with The Predator. That one was just kind of like too sort of like too like poking fun at itself for my taste. So
Yeah.
all that to say, oh, and you also have to pepper in some Alien versus Predator installments in there, which have been said that those are not canon. They don't fall anywhere in the franchise like timeline for Predator. So then we go super dormant for a while, and then during the pandemic, there was development for Prey, which was the thing that got everyone pumped the F up for this franchise again, because it wasn't called Predator. Obviously, it was called Prey. And what they did was they put the Predator monster back in time, because that's what has been established in canon, that they have been coming to
Yep.
Earth throughout its whole history and hunting, right? So it's like, yes, that's what's super exciting about it. This is what like the Predator and Predators kind of got away from, is like you give the humans all these like super advanced guns and like ammunition. It's fine. It's not as like as exciting. It's like that's at the core of what makes this movie so good, is that yes, Arnold had machine guns and stuff, but like it's the best is when it's at the end, when he's using like cut up bamboo sticks and spears and shit, and he's like fighting hand to hand. That's when it's its best. So they went back to that. They went back to its roots. So Prey, I believe, is during the Native American time. He is this and by the way, when I say these are all new Alien Predators. Not one carries over for to the next installment for the most part. They all pretty much die, and whether they use the little self-destructing quintal, and I was like that's pretty much how they all end. But I do believe that Prey is centered around obviously a predator alien hunting using this cloaking device. The design of the creature was kind of exciting and new.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks kind of like shit on it. They said it was kind of like horse elongated and stuff. I freaking dug it. I thought it was great. So yes, it's him fighting and or hunting amongst the Native American tribes, I believe. And then now we are going to be, and that's what people said. They said, ooh, give us more of that shit. We want to see Predator in feudal Japan. We want to see Predator in like the Wild West, and just all these like different time periods. And we're like, we would love to see more of that shit. So it looks like finally we are getting a new Predator, and it is going to another specific time period. All I know is that it's called Predator Badlands, and I don't really, Lance, maybe you can help me. I don't know what time period it's actually going to.
I don't know either. My background on Predator, I mean, you gave us quite a great background on the
Sorry
whole
about
thing.
that. I never shut up. Sorry.
No. I mean, you kind of covered all the bases. I guess AVP is not a part of it, but AVP kind of set up the fact that maybe the Predators were around in the Egyptian era, have kind of come around to help the humans at one point, and then kind of came back to hunt them or whatever it was. They're always looking for their best. I think the other part about the Predators is that they sometimes go on hunting missions, sort of a thing. They've got to bring back the best hunter from a planet A lot of times it just happened to be Earth. And then Prey, which I thought was so phenomenal. Like I'm so ready to watch it again. It was actually the Comanche tribe, which was really cool about it. They did such a great. So I followed the Predator franchise for a while, and they were like, they had the money, they had the franchise, they had the rights, they had everything. They're like, we want an event film, which is something that we've already mentioned in this episode. How can we make it an event that people want to see? AVP didn't work. They did AVP rated R. That didn't work. Like, how can we make the Predator a true, and it didn't work. They tried Predators, the Predator, and none of it really came to fruition. So like you said, it sat for a while. And then that's when we got the Hulu release of Prey. Back to basics. And it kind of became an event film because it was during the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, there was a couple things that happened that were released at the right time where it was all like, I guess that's what we're going to watch, or it came out. Actually, it came out in 2022, but the hype started during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember kind of talking about it when we came back. So it kind of became, because everyone could access it. It wasn't a theatrical release. And then they did something that I just love so much. It was the Comanche tribe, but they also did the film in the Comanche language, so you could have that option and then read the subtitles, which is something that we truly love. So it really went back to the roots. Like, it just did everything right for that film. I've mentioned it before, I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. Like, rewrite history, send the Predator back. Let's see how humans and the Predators interacted in the past. You've mentioned that's what people want. Like, after Prey, like, yes, let's see how the cowboys handled it. I want to see how the ancient Egyptians handled it. How did we get the respect of the Predators to help us build the pyramids? I want to see that. I would love to see history kind of rewritten with the Predator movies. As far as Badlands goes, I know I think it's the same filmmakers from Prey. So there's a lot of hope that we're kind of doing that sort of thing. Let's tell the backstory. I feel like the Predator world, the multiple versions of Predator are kind of just, I feel like they should be set for the new Hulu cartoon or the animation that's kind of coming out. To kind of keep it to the comic books. But as far as the movies go, I love seeing the one-on-one. I love seeing hunter versus prey and who's the worthy hunter, so that's really what I want to see. I think that's what the fans are really hoping for after Prey.
I do too. I think folks really just want to see a simple story. I don't think they want to see cut 'em up, shoot 'em up stuff per se. I will say that I have a bit of some quotes from Dan Trachtenberg, who is the director of Predator: Badlands and Prey. Are you familiar with the game Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah.
So he said he was Predator Badlands was very much inspired by Shadow of the Colossus, which is really cool. I personally have never heard of that game or played it, but it looks like it's definitely getting some inspiration from that. I will say that have been a few details that have been released. I have not watched the trailer yet, but I do want to say that this is a bit of a new story. But we've kind of seen that this is in line with the way this sort of species works, in that there is a bit of a he's a runt predator that has been put on Earth to kind of prove his worth. So he's smaller, younger, less experienced than a full-fledged warrior predator. So there's that. So take that for what it's worth when you watch the trailer. But all we know is that, and in addition to that, there is, it looks like from the chatter online, there's going to be, while Alien versus Predator is not canon, it looks like there is going to be either an attempt or reattempt to introduce the two to each other in possibly a future sort of adaptation, bringing them both together on the screen. So take that for what it's worth. Boy. Yeah. I don't know. Alien versus Predator, if you remember, came shortly after Freddy versus Jason. I think they were just trying to capitalize on that shit. So I think that just with a little bit more care and finesse, the two can be told, or the two stories can I don't think it's like a, hey, let's put them against each other. I think it's like, hey, they exist in the same world. So you
Hmm.
see like an alien. So remember part two, Predator part two, that was the thing that started everybody's like, made everybody kind of like, made everybody's pants get tighter or soaked because they saw his trophy case where he had all these skulls. And it's like, oh, damn, he killed the dinosaur at one point. But you saw the skull of a xenomorph from
Yeah.
Alien. And that's where everybody was like, like they lost it because it had only been like, it's like RoboCop versus Terminator, all these like nerds putting like, and that's us putting like these like, what if these two fought? But then that spawned like comic books and such like that, and then eventually we do get the movies. But all I know is that those details may be evident in the trailer. That's all I know.
Hmm.
So excited to watch it.
It's funny you mentioned the trophy rack in 2, but I was more excited in Prey because they actually mentioned the flintlock that the Predator hands Danny Glover. It's actually mentioned in Prey. I was like, oh, it's a tie into the second one and the trophies, and it was so cool to me. Like, that's what I actually geeked out for more. Again, like I love kind of inserting these modern stories into old history and kind of like, the secret that nobody knew, it was kind of happening the whole time. I really enjoy that storytelling. So that's where I'd like to see it more. With what you just told me, I'm a little worried about where we're going with Badlands, but we're going to check it out.
Okay.
There's the trophy rack we were just talking about.
Very interesting.
Okay. Feels like Doom.
Okay.
What world are we on?
So it doesn't look like they're on Earth.
No.
You're hunting something that can't be killed.
Oh my.
Okay, so not what I was hoping for.
Okay, so not. Okay, so hold on. Okay, who? So Elle Fanning is the one that's talking, right? Did you see her eyes go white?
Yeah. So isn't that isn't that an Alien crossover?
Yeah.
From,
Okay. So I'm not going to pretend that I saw that happen and was like, oh, I can recognize the logo. Look, I'm going to be honest, folks. I know about the logo because of something I saw on Twitter, but I hadn't seen the full trailer until just now. But now I know the context. The logo that is on the eyes when her eyes go white is Wayland Industries.
Okay.
So, put all that bullshit aside. What I did notice on his trophy rack, did you see?
What?
On the trophy rack, right dead in the center, is the skull of one of the freaking aliens from Independence Day.
Oh, I did not. No.
Yeah.
I feel like when I saw that, it's ingrained. The second movie is ingrained in my head, so I just saw the. I didn't even actually look at it, but wow. Okay.
Release.
Another interesting movie I want to talk about one day.
Oh, hell yeah. Independence Day is freaking terrifying for that scene that I'm talking about where you got the freaking tentacle around Data's neck. Yes, dude. It's incredibly terrifying. What code? Listen, who's she talking to? One, right? She's just having a conversation with somebody. And for all intents and purposes, all I saw is there was actually humanoid looking was her. So is she just like talking to this, by the way, his name is Dek, Dek.
Who's he?
The predator you saw there at the end, that last one, that's who it centers around. This like this runt, prove yourself to your tribe, Dak Prescott trailer or predator.
Oh no.
Okay, so a few things are right. A few things are here. Okay, obviously Independence Day was made by 20th Century Fox. No big deal to use the skull and put it there. No big deal, right? Move on. The big thing.
Okay.
The big thing is that is an interesting looking predator there at the end. Mostly
not too far from the original.
Yeah, like people kind of have been shitting on this design, and I don't see what the hell's going on. Yeah, he's a little small. You know, his head isn't as bulbous. You know, because like when the predator, right, like when he takes off the mask to fight Arnold, his head is pretty like round and bulbous. This guy's a little bit more sleek. He looks more shit. It's like his name is like Rex Rawhide or something like that. It doesn't matter. He just looks like a video game character that I've seen before, or a horror movie character to be honest with you. So, but just a little bit more aerodynamic. Still got the braids and stuff, but the eyes took me out. He's like, hello, you know, his eyes are like glowing, but that is definitely not Earth.
No, I think he just feels more humanistic than the Predator ever really has. The Predator's always been like a 7-foot dude, or, you know, around that size, muscular. So, and then you start to add the padding and all that kind of stuff. I think this is kind of what I was talking about. I was like, I don't necessarily know if I really care about the lore and the planet of the Predators versus the Predators interacting in society. You know what I mean? Like, I like the one-on-one man versus beast movies more. This just has a feel. Maybe this is what they're trying to build towards. This is what they've been trying to say for years, is we want the event Predator film. This feels to me like Dune. It feels like the new Star Wars stuff. It feels like what was the something Moon on Netflix? I never saw it.
Yeah, Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon, yeah, kind of that like dirty but clean CGI sci-fi world sort of a thing. I think that Star Wars really kind of started the dusty sci-fi. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I feel like I'd have to change my mind on what the Predator is in order to be into this. And I could really get myself into it because I do like sci-fi films. I do like big world stuff, but
yeah,
the Predator is man versus beast and interacting with us, you know.
I don't know. It's just, I think people are just, good on the director. He's like, I made Prey, I can make it again and just change the setting, and then that shows what of my range as a director. So I get it. Like, you know, expand, right? I did finally find the details that I was kind of peppering in so I could just speak to them with more like certainty. So the Predator's name is Dick. I'm not even joking. He is a young male and runt of his species, meaning he is smaller and weaker. So we could see why he was like sleek and like Assassin's Creed sort of like looking, Dune looking with his mask and stuff. He was giving off that vibe. He is definitely not on Earth. The planet he is hunting on is named Kalisk, meaning Death Planet. And Dek is trying to prove himself to his father and clan for acceptance.
Okay. The one thing I did notice, you kind of mentioned the Fanning girl. I think there's a scene where we see Dek. We can see some like humanistic looking like sci-fi tech that's been kind of crushed up around him. I'm kind of wondering if there's a human landing on there. There's maybe some humans kind of running around, maybe getting in the way, sort of a thing, so we can sort of relate to the film. Which I don't know. I'm like, just give me a sci-fi film at that point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, I've learned to kind of hold my judgment for and when I say I've learned after I watched Prey to hold my judgment, right? Because I didn't know. I was like, here we go again, let's see. And then I watched it and I was like, holy shit, this thing fucked me up in a good way, right? So I'm hoping this is going to be good. They are saying this is not going to be a Hulu release, because that's what we all said, right? They were like, "Damn, this thing was good enough to go into theaters for Prey, right?" But maybe it needed to release on Hulu. Maybe it needed to do that so it can get to where we're at now, where it's like, now I'm telling you all that this is worth your time, because I will definitely be watching that in the theaters. I think that's definitely an event. I mean, it's probably the sights and sounds. I mean, look, when you saw like the spaceship and stuff like that, kind of like cruising over all like the barren lands and stuff. Yes, it gave me like a Dune vibe, like you kind of said, but it also gave me like an Alien 1 vibe too. So, but yay, there was a jungle scene with all these like tentacles going after him. I think he's going to be like very like, assassin acrobatic sort of way. Like I think he's going to be doing a lot of like cool sword moves, as opposed to like, heat seeking, locking in with his little laser taser blazer.
I don't think I think what was cool about the Predator all the time was the mystery behind the Predator. Like, he was the hunter. You were terrified of him. Like, even in the second one, when he's going down the subway, like, there was terrifying moments of you feared the Predator. You kind of thought he was a badass at the end, and you were like, okay, cool. This dude hunts other, creatures and aliens and other shit. But in the end, you were scared of him. You were afraid of him. And now you've got to watch a whole movie where you're like rooting for him. I don't know. It
right.
just gets away from the source that kind of pulled me in, So I'm like,
you have a point there.
Like I said, I've got to change my mind on what the Predator is to me in order, I think, to enjoy this and just be like, oh, this is a cool new sci-fi movie, and I'm going to go this direction with it now.
But that is not the only Predator stuff we're going to get from this team. I think we're getting an animated Predator feature that is going to be going straight to Hulu or something like that. Called what is it called?
Oh, that I don't know.
It's like Predator. Also, take a drink every time we say Predator. I think we've said it like a million times. It's Killer of Killers is what it's called.
Okay.
We won't watch or anything like that, but it does look pretty intense. This will be a Hulu and Disney Plus sort of thing on June 6th. It looks interesting in the fact that like it's not like an animation style you've never seen before, but it looks to me a little bit more like it could be some freeing sort of stuff you can do with animation that you can't really like practically create with effects and stuff, or it would become like super expensive. I guess I'll watch the trailer sometime, but I'm gonna watch it just because like that's the thing about Predator. You're looking at two. I almost view it as two characters in one. You watch him with the mask on, and it's almost like he is something else at that point, because he's kind of sleek, and it's like he's almost like a Michael Myers or something like that. He's got like no emotion, and it's also like, is that his face? It looks very cool. He's kind of like a wraith looking sort of dude, and then he finally takes the mask off and he becomes a totally different like feral beast. So when it was like he had the mask on, it was about being the hunter and the camouflage and tactical and things like that. When he takes the mask off, it's like, oh, look at this freaking fish face. That's kind of terrifying. But at the same time, it's like, he's not going to be tactical about anything. He's going to get you and like kind of bitch slap you across the creek there. So that's what's always been really cool about this character, is that I guess once the gloves come off, so to speak, it's a totally different sort of ball game. So we'll see. Maybe it looks like they are and have tapped into that aspect with this one, because you saw that when he was cloaked and had his little mask on and stuff like that, it was acting a certain way. And then finally, when the mask came off, he was all about like, let's go. So,
the Hulu series looks like it's trying to open up the world of Predator and Alien to us. Maybe like, oh, here's the planet, and maybe sometimes they do these animation sort of things as a way of saying like, we don't know if we can put the resources to a film to do it. Like you kind of said, like maybe you can't really do these things in film. Maybe you can, but you're like, I don't know if it's going to be really worth it. Like people like me has a different version of Predator than where you're going with this. I don't know if I can root for the Predator. You know what I mean? Even though I think he's cool and he's badass at the end, and you know, you have a great fight with him and you're like, fuck yeah, that was fun. You still got to be scared of him. That's what I always grew up with. So now opening up the world to where we're rooting for the Predator against other alien species, races, whatever, we're rooting for him to win. I don't know. I will give it a try, literally based on Prey. So yeah, I'll go. I'll see it.
Me too.
You know,
me too. I'm into it.
Yep. So we'll that's Danny and I'm Lance. Another Dead Trailer Reacts for Predator Badlands. We'll see you at the theater.